Good evening and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva. Who am I? I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live via SHR Media and streaming live here on Facebook. And my guests this evening are Mr. Tyrone Jackson. He is a stock market trader and wealth building coach at thewealthyinvestor.net. And he's going to talk to us this evening about developing your investment strategy. Welcome, everybody, in the Facey chat. John Campbell, Shelly was the first one in the Facey chat, and your name just went flying by. Debbie, Melissa, Marlon, hi. Welcome, everybody. SHR Media Land and Levon Wilson. For those of you who have some questions about where I was last week, I ran really late, and I kind of gave you guys a warning that might happen because I was on Judge Joe Brown's. I had a radio hit right before my own show on Judge Joe Brown, who has a radio show now. And if you recall ever watching Judge Joe Brown's show, which was on regular, syndicated TV, where he had to be relatively reserved, and he was still quite a bit ornery and fiery. Oh, thank you, Shelly. Thank you. Yeah, that banner was I designed that banner. Actually, somebody else designed that banner. I'm telling lies. See that? Someone else designed that banner, but I had it done for some publicity thing I did. And I'm actually going back to do that thing again. They invited me back in April. I'll tell you guys about that later. But I did Judge Joe Brown's radio show. The publicist, who I think it was his booker, his publicist, or my booker, I forget who did what now, told me that hit was only going to be an hour. So I thought I was going to run slightly late for my show, but that radio hit was 2 hours. And I was the special guest. So I could not very well tell Judge Joe that I was leaving an hour early. So, hey, Doug Poss, my unofficial, unpaid publicist, who's promotion of my show I appreciate very much. Jim Morris, how are you in the Facey chat? So I did Judge Joe's show for 2 hours before my own. That's why my show was an hour late, and I unfortunately had to reschedule my hour one guest. So that's where I was last week. I did do my hour two show, and then promptly forgot to post it. It just occurred to me today. People were like, "What happened to your show last week? Didn't you do a show?" And I was like, "I did a show, and I did, but I didn't post the podcast." The show. And I just realized today that I never posted it. So I really have to get an assistant, seriously. But I'm going to post it probably tonight. I usually do my post-production right after the show. Oh, this was the other thing that happened. So before, and this is probably why the show never got posted. So before Judge Joe's show, I got a flat tire. I'm not even kidding. This all happened last Friday. And part of the reason why I'm hoarse. So and by the way, my guest is on hold, Mr. Tyrone Jackson, who you guys are in for a treat. I can already tell he's fabulous. And he's on vacation, working extra hard, as all entrepreneurs do. And Tyrone needs to know that this is my normal open is not all about my personal life, but they missed it. It's usually about like the stock market and stuff like that. But every now and then I have to catch my audience up because there's been like a lull, and there's been like a lull. So I had a flat tire before Judge Joe's show. So as soon as I got off the air, I had to address that. So and I usually do my post-production right after I get off the air, but I have time to do that because I have to go get my car. So that's what happened. So I apologize to you guys for being such a mess. And then I came back and I had to work on a presentation for the Federation of Republican Women that I gave on Sunday. That's part of the reason why I'm hoarse. So I did that and Doug Paul says, "Hang on, sir. She's got you. Hang on." And I do. Tyrone, I got you. So So I had this big presentation on how to win in politics using social media and email for the Federation of Republican Women, of which I'm the vice president here in New Jersey and the vice chair of PR for the national organization. And I had an hour-long presentation, which was enthralling indeed from what the women tell me and informative. So I had to polish that up. It was 80 slides and an hour-long presentation on how to kick your opponent's butt on Sunday. And that is why, so between that and teaching my college kids at the university, the finer points of the foundations of computer science and discrete math this week, and all of that, I'm a little hoarse. So there you have it. But there's no collusion and maybe a little obstruction, but not enough to press charges. The stock market's up, and what else do we need to know? I think that's it this week. Oh, and if you want to catch that Judge Joe Brown segment, it is posted on my website at moneytalkwithmelanie.com. You can catch that at moneytalkwithmelanie.com. You can catch that on my Facebook page. It's also been tweeted. How you doing, Edward? So you can catch that. It does have a parental advisory. As you all know, I don't allow profanity on my Facebook page. So when you see that parental advisory, please know it is not my salty language that earned the parental advisory. That would be Judge Joe, not me. And that appearance is not on behalf of Money Talk with Melanie. That appearance is on behalf of Project 21 that I was doing that appearance for. They were encouraging the NAACP awards. Interesting fact, the NAACP and the NAACP awards are two separate organizations, which I did not know. And so they were they had me on behalf of Project 21 and a representative from the NAACP Project 21 did a press release and of which I made a statement as part of that press release encouraging the NAACP to withdraw their nomination of Jussie Smollett for an NAACP Image Award. And basically it was a couple of people from people who were calling in, giving their opinions on it, and a representative from the NAACP and myself discussing that matter. So that's what the whole 2-hour show was about. And of course, there were people calling in telling me how I wasn't really Black and I need to concern myself with other things and throwing all kinds of shade and, the normal stuff. But it's an interesting show, and if you want to listen to it, you can go to moneytalkwithmelanie.com, and there's a link to that show if you want to listen to it. And now coming your way, we're going to take a brief break, and coming your way is a brand new Ron Edwards notebook. And as you know, I never listen to it ahead of time because I want to be just as surprised as you are as to what Mr. Ron Edwards has to say. Coming your way, a brief commercial break, Ron Edwards notebook, and a couple of commercials by my sponsors. And on the other side of the break, we will have Mr. Tyrone Jackson. I can't wait. One moment.
For years, I have accurately proclaimed that the number one enemy of America is the government school system. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, many of us understand that is taught to one generation takes the direction we should take in the next. Any school system that indoctrinates an individual who is elected to government and proposes abolishing airplanes and cows and the ability of we the people to create wealth is bad enough. But when enough people are convinced they should support and vote for someone who wants to turn the United States into a giant Venezuela, then it's past time to take swift action to establish real education that teaches authentic history, mind-building math, English, etc., and supports a higher moral code. When Johnny and Maria can't tell the difference between right and wrong, and their parents don't have enough sense to discriminate the crucial differences, instruct their children accordingly, then the rest of us have a responsibility of standing up and stopping the government school indoctrination madness before Khrushchev's wish to see America buried comes to pass. I'm Ron Edwards. Let's meet Fridays on AmericaMatters.us, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and 12 a.m. Sundays on Talk Radio Network.
Ron Edwards, the new voice of America.
Sponsored by David E. Garrett Jewelers.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialist remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our number one priority.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love numbers and puzzles and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school, and if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and my guest for the first hour is Mr. Tyrone Jackson. I'm very excited to have him on the show today. A little bit about my guest. He is a trusted stock market trader, mentor, and best-selling author who has built his reputation on his unique ability to make stock market trading and investing accessible to people without financial education. Through his program, The Wealthy Investor, as well as live seminars in New York City and LA, and content online on Roku TV and on Amazon Prime Video, Tyrone teaches retail investors how to successfully trade and invest stocks and options and to profit in every market environment. His work has been featured on NASDAQ.com, CBS Market Watch, and Los Angeles Daily News, and on Yahoo Finance. Tyrone's road to success was a long and winding one. He actually got his start in theater and quickly became a sought-after voiceover actor. I could totally see that. And you guys will see that too, in films and commercials. Despite how satisfying he found this, it became apparent that acting would not provide enough financial security to build a life around. And so Tyrone began studying. As a successful investor, Tyrone now teaches his students that before they can change their own financial lives, they must first change their own beliefs about money and the way that he did. While building one's personal wealth may seem like a self-centered endeavor, Tyrone believes deeply that this shift in mindset allows people not only to become financially successful, but also empowers them to give back to their community. Amen to that. And without further ado, Mr. Tyrone Jackson, how are you this evening?
Well, all right. I am thrilled to be with you and your audience. I can tell you that for sure.
Oh, man. I as soon as I heard your voice, I was like, oh, he's going to be good.
Well, let's make it happen here today for people. Let's help them change their mindset and get more money coming in.
First of all, let's just make the whole audience jealous right now and tell them where you are.
I am actually doing this interview from the Four Seasons in Maui, and I'm on a half vacation, half work trip. And I'm going to tell you, everything here is perfect, from the food to the service, so on and so forth. So, as they say, I am truly living the dream.
Indeed. And you sound nice and relaxed. And like if you're going to do a radio hit, this is the way to do it.
Yes. Very fortunate and very blessed. And I just try to help other people do the same.
Indeed. Okay. Is there anything that I left out of your bio that you'd like to tell the audience? Something interesting that happened since you put together this one sheet that you'd like to let the audience know?
No, I just, listen, the most important thing that I do in my work is I help people become financially free. And in a venue that most people would never expect, which is the stock market. A lot of people watch those late night infomercials on real estate, and I'm just telling you, that is not the only way to create monthly residual income and financial freedom for yourself. Really, the best kept secret is how to do it in the stock market.
It certainly is, because I think that the stock market people look at as gambling and super risky and that kind of thing. But you're saying that that's not necessarily so?
No, because here's the thing. There's a wonderful saying, which I'm sure you know, which is success leaves clues, right? And so if we look at the people who are really running the world, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, who started Microsoft, Oprah, these are not people who are flipping houses on the weekend, right?
Sure.
A great deal of their wealth is doing what? Owning stocks, right? Starting companies, taking them public. Even Oprah has gotten in on the action because she's a 20% shareholder in a company called Weight Watchers, right?
Never heard of it.
I know, hard to believe, right?
Right.
So here's the deal. If we want to become millionaires and maybe have a shot at billionaires, we should be playing the game that billionaires play.
Okay, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense. Because even when there's a severe stock market downturn, the Warren Buffetts of the world are not worried. They're looking at that as buying opportunities.
That is correct. And we call that in the stock market buying on dips, right? So there's one of the things when I wanted to go, because I hit a time in my life where I really wanted to go from just someone who was working a job, right? So I heard someone say once at a seminar, job stands for just above broke, right? I realized that I didn't want that because when you have a job, you're just trading time for dollars, right? You run out of time, you can only make but so much dollars. So I was raised by a single mother who struggled her whole life just to pay the bills, and I thought there's got to be a better way. Now, when I was 17, 18, nothing was online. You had to go to a bookstore and buy books. So I took my allowance and I started reading books on money. Like, what are the patterns? How do people get rich in America? And I found ideas that worked for me and those that didn't, and I dropped those that didn't, and I stayed with those that did work. And that's why I have the saying now, wealth really is nothing but a series of positive habits. Wealth is nothing but a series of positive habits. And what that really means is when you take the money that you have coming in and you engage in the exact same habits that the rich do, guess what? You become richer. Now, on the other side of that equation, if you take the money that you have that you're earning and you do what broke or poor people do, guess what the results are going to be? You're going to get the same results. So when you engage in those habits that rich people do, even if they're very small, right, you're going to get the results that rich people get. As long as, and this is really important, as long as you're willing to change your thinking about money, wealth, and in the end, helping others.
And I'll tell you, I swear on everything that helping others piece is one of the hardest things. It's not even in a lot of financial literacy curriculums. When I've been teaching financial literacy for about 7-8 years now, and the first curriculum I ever used, it wasn't even in the curriculum, and I added it just because I felt as though it was so necessary, because I just understand that philanthropy is just so important. And my students were looking at me as if I had two heads. Like, why would I want to give my money away? I'm like, because you're a decent human being? Because it brings positive energy? Like, you can't say because the Bible says so, because, like, God forbid. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? But
right. Well, here's the thing. First of all, kudos to you because you were really onto something. Helping other people is not just helping with money. It's also helping with your time,
right,
energy, and your ability to explain success to people. I mean, there's
right,
so many ways in which positive energy can be passed on and help others.
Right. Absolutely. And in my mind, in a lot of ways, time is more valuable than money.
Yes.
It can be.
Yes.
You know?
So here's the shift, right, which we want everybody listening to make today, okay? And it has to do first, and this gets a little deep here, but it's really important. It has to do with your money beliefs. So here's what I've discovered in my work. All of the money that you will earn in your life, all of the money without exception, is based on your belief system. So, for example, if no one ever taught you to think about how much residual income you have coming in on a monthly basis, then what's the likelihood that you're going to continue to trade time for dollars? So let me say that again. If you've never been programmed to think wealth, then you are probably programmed to think get a job, get a paycheck, and maybe get a promotion and a bonus, and that's life, right? And that programming is very consistent with a working class mentality. Now, what do wealthy people teach their children? They teach them to make money, to make money produce income. And so that person who's, in a family where they were raised with $2, $3, $4, $5 million surrounding them, they're going to have a totally different outcome in their life because they've been taught to think, make money work for you. And what we call that in the Wealthy Investor Program is residual income. So you see, when you start to learn to think about residual income, then the only question is, what modality do you want to use to get that residual income? The only reason really to buy real estate is so someone else pays off your mortgage, and what's left over at the end of the month, that rent payment goes to you as a form of what? A form of residual income. Okay? So then some people go, oh, well, if I had 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, I'd have more residual income. And that's correct. The only problem is I'm not really good at real estate. Like, I can't tell you where the boiler is and the water line, and I don't know how to repair a roof and all of that. So I found the modality that worked for me was the stock market, because I could understand buying something at 50 that I can then sell at 75, or buying something at 75 I can then sell at 80, right? And I always say, if you went to the 4th grade, and Melanie, here's what no one tells you. If you went to the 4th grade, you could actually be rich, because all wealth is addition and subtraction. That's all it is. So when you find a modality like the stock market that allows you to buy, let's say, Microsoft at $80 a share, and today it's at $120 a share, right? You have a built-in profit there. The question is how much? Well, a little addition and subtraction will tell you how much you have per share. If you get in the habit of buying stocks that have a tendency to rise and you hold them, you are building assets. You are building wealth that is getting larger and larger as time goes on. And how does it all start? With how you've been taught, how you've been programmed to think about what you should be doing with the money that you earn.
Okay. Man, when I have guests like you, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because radio, dead air is really bad. But I'm sitting here like absorbing. It's like, okay, now you're the host. Talk.
Yeah.
Hey, Melanie, you're the host. Time to talk now.
Right. I'm with you.
But that was very good stuff. And just so you know, the people in the Facey chat are totally feeling you. There's a lot of wonderful comments in the Facebook chat. One of my sponsors, the creditrepair.biz guy, I don't know if you heard the commercial over the break, but he said, oh, wow. He says, I engage in the same habit of drug users because I didn't inhale. That was a joke. But he said there's very, very good energy from this guy. I'm feeling him. Okay, very good. Yeah. He said the man, Levine Wilson, another regular listener of the show, said the man spoke the truth. So they are feeling exactly what you're saying and how you are articulating the wealth building strategy. That was very good. Excellent. Okay.
Well, can I go one step further?
Please continue.
Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. So money has an intellectual and spiritual component. Now I'm going to go a little Oprah on you, so you got to go with me here. Okay.
I'm bracing myself.
Okay. So wealth is wealth, money, and thoughts are all energy, right? So you're going to get in this life what you focus on most. So if you're one of those people who complain and life is so hard and you never get a break because that's what you're focusing on, those thoughts are affecting your money right now. So let's say you're a person who really wants to do better, but things don't seem to be working out. Some of that has to do with the energy that you're around from other people. You see, people have limited thoughts about money, and people who have limited thoughts about money, success, happiness, and ideas, who do they tend to hang out with? They tend to hang out with other people who have small, limiting thoughts about money, love, success, and happiness. So if you want to shift that energy in find some new friends, some new people to hang around who vibrate at a higher level, who think other thoughts, have other expectations about money, success, and ideas, and then your money, your wealth is going to grow and multiply. In other words, if you understand anything about the universe, in the universe, like attracts like. That's why broke people tend to hang out with broke people. Like attracts like. That's why wealthy people tend to hang out with people who are what? Just as wealthy or even more so. Because positive energy and positive thoughts around money affects the amount of wealth and residual income that you are actually going to create in your life. Now, here's the good news. There really is no limit as to the amount of wealth that you can create. The only limit is based on your beliefs and your ideas. So right now, we're doing a show where we can potentially reach everybody in the world. That's because positive energy is limitless. And that's what the act that we're engaging right now is, helping people think about their money thoughts, who's around them, and maybe making a shift so that vibrationally you can attract more wealth and happiness into your life and simultaneously engage in positive habits. It's all part of this wonderful system, so you don't have to be broke in life. You can choose, starting from today, something different, something greater, and something more wonderful and bigger for your life.
I tend to agree with that, and I think that this is why, and not to get all, I have a theory about the new age, the secret. Robert Houston, who's one of my sponsors, said that's the secret. Your network equals your net worth. And I've heard this before, and I think that there's, throughout all the, what do you call them? I don't want to call them religious theories or spiritual theories or whatever you call them. I have a theory as a Bible believing, Bible thumper, whatever you want to call it, because I've kind of dipped and dabbed in all of these things, but I've also read the Bible several times. And on my fourth Bible read is that all these things are kind of borrowed from the original scriptures and manufactured and also and rebranded. And as someone who's been in education for 20 years, education does this too. Like, we all do lesson plans, and every couple of years they rebrand how you're supposed to teach, and it's the same thing over and over again. Objective, opener, lesson, closer. But they relabel it something else every couple of years, but it's the same thing. So like the Bible says stuff like, don't hang out with people who are unbelievers. And the reason why is you'll develop the same habits as unbelievers. That's why the Bible isn't, God doesn't want you hanging out with people who don't believe, because you'll become like them. It's the same principle. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I guess what I'm trying to encourage your audience today is, don't worry too much about the origins of the thought. Just tap into the practice. That's the most important thing.
And and that extended principle is true. I'm just trying to defend God a little bit on that one. Just make sure everybody know it wasn't Oprah's thought. God thought of it first. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to be clear that, it was rebranded, rethought. Bob Proctor, I think, wrote The Secret. God thought of it first. I'm just trying to defend that thought. It wasn't original thought. He just rebranded it. That's all.
On this topic, one of the things that's really interesting, because, for me, my wealth is self-made, right? No one really gave me anything.
Right.
My parents gave me the opportunity to succeed, right? And whatever they could, it was up to me to take it from there. But this whole expanded consciousness thing, you realize if I'm going to go for a life where, for example, I was raised in federally subsidized housing with a single mother who worked so hard and couldn't pay the bills, to, being in the Four Seasons in Maui, and, all the other ones that having multiple homes and all that. One of the things I realized is I had to change internally in order to attract, right, and have permanent wealth, happiness, friendship, success, love in my life. I was going to have to move past what I was exposed to as a child onto something greater, some greater ideas. And if you're willing to do that inner work, it's going to show up in the outer world.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And the beauty of the world that we live in is, no matter how you apply these universal laws, it's still going to work.
Yes.
It's still going to work.
Yes.
And that's what I find just like the most bizarre and in grace that we live under, is that those things are going to work. And it does. It absolutely works. And changing your mind, no matter what, will work. So you have to stay away from these people. You have to stay away from these people with the small-minded thinking. If you want to change, you're absolutely right. If you want to change your situation, take a look around your inner circle. If you want to level up, the first thing you got to level up is your crew.
That is correct. Because for good or bad, right or wrong, those people are affecting your money. So, for example, I have a place in Malibu, right? And one of the things I love about living in Malibu is that there are people whose wealth is 10 times greater than mine, right? So I'm always in a place when I'm out socially at a cookout or something where I'm in the opportunity to learn from people who have more than me, right? So I always say, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, we're in trouble, right? Now, I've learned a couple of things, and I've helped people to become millionaires and all that, but I'd like to be in the room with people who have 35, 45, $50 million. Why? Because they've transformed on the inside in a way that I haven't. So those people's energy actually forces me to constantly be in a state of growth. And in addition to that state of growth, I want to throw out one other principle, and it seems like it's not initially applicable to the stock market, but it's very important. And the other principle, if you want to have more money and happiness and success in your life, is gratitude.
Yes.
Right? So if you can look around you each and every day and find just 3 things that you are grateful for, that you didn't take for granted, that is another way to kickstart the shift in mindset. And another way to kickstart your money, and higher quality relationships. So gratitude is a tool in the Wealthy Investor Program that we're always using because positive energy multiplies.
Now, I don't know, and it's so weird that you say that. I was telling this to somebody not too long ago. I noticed I had not been sick in a long time. Now watch me jinx myself. I don't really believe in that. But I told somebody that I had not been sick in quite some time. And I'd started making sure that I expressed gratitude in my prayers for my health and being really specific about it, because I'm getting to that age where like everybody's on some kind of medication. I'm 48 years old. I'll be 50 in a minute. I'll be 49 in September. So and I'm getting to that age where, like I said, everybody's on some kind of medication. I'm running into folks that are the same age as me, and I'm like, what you doing? Like, why do you look like that? You know what I mean? Like, so I started to really make sure that I was, being thankful. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any correlation between me not getting sick and just making sure that I put some serious energy into being grateful for the state of my health. I wonder if there's any correlation. I still, wondering, but I'm not going to stop doing it.
Right. Well, it's not a mystery, right? Because most people who are driven and financially successful live in a state of gratitude. They'd like to see their world a little bit bigger, whether they'd like to have a bigger business or a bigger brokerage account or what have you. But gratitude is a tool that they're using to make your blessings grow, and it really does work. And it's free, right? Gratitude is free. To look around and say, what are 3 things I'm grateful for here today? That doesn't cost you anything. But again, it's that shift in attitude, that a little gratitude, your attitude, as they say, will move you away from negative people and then in alignment with where it is that you say you truly want to be financially and otherwise.
Indeed. Now we have to take a quick break, but I cannot wait we're not getting off the phone until I ask you this question about dating and investing.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My first hour guest today is Tyrone Jackson, stock market trader and wealth building coach at thewealthyinvestor.net. Robert Houston asked about your website. It's thewealthyinvestor.net. Check it out. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Shannon Ray.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events? All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes the show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz. Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com, go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and my first hour guest today is Tyrone Jackson. He's a stock market trader and wealth building coach at thewealthyinvestor.net. And I have a question that I want to ask Mr. Tyrone Jackson. He's filling us with all kinds of wonderful information about investing and all kinds of guru-like information. Just wonderful information. But I have a question to ask you. How is investing like dating? Since I'm not very successful at dating, might as well ask about how investing is like dating.
All right. I hope you sit down now, because here's where it gets interesting and interesting, as my little nieces and nephews say.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is really interesting. I found this very interesting parallel between people who invest well and people who are in loving relationships.
Okay.
So if you're single and you're in the marketplace and you're looking for someone to be with, why is it you're not finding that person? Well, there's some tools. There are a lot of reasons for that, but there's some tools that you could actually help. And the first is you want to be specific about what it is that you want when you're looking for someone, right? Are you looking for someone who's kind, loving, financially successful, who goes to church and cooks in the morning, and who's honest? And most of those are characteristics that people are looking for. However, they haven't written them down, so they haven't become extremely clear about that. They have a broad notion about what it is that they're looking for, right? And we call this your list. When you make your list of what you're looking for in your ideal relationship, only if money is important to you and having a good lifestyle, there's nothing wrong with that. That
your list, right? However, all the things that you put down on your list, you have to be open to someone coming into your life who's all those things and more, right? Maybe some things you didn't consider, right? And so a lot of people say, hey, I'm looking for someone who's X, Y, and Z. And then that person doesn't look like they thought that person should look, or they don't sound exactly like what they think that person looks like. And then they can overlook that person, even though there are a lot of things on your list. Well, when it comes to choosing good stocks in the stock market, we're looking for a series of characteristics. We're looking for companies not only whose stock price is growing, but we're looking for companies who are making more revenue on a quarterly basis. Now, in the stock market, everything is done with how much money did that company make every 13 weeks. And if we go to a place like Yahoo Finance and we click on income statement, we can see how much money a company actually earns. And the more that that company's actually earning, the higher the stock price will go because of something called demand. Okay? So, if you're looking for a person who's kind, loving, motivated, and makes a great living, who's caring, that should be on your list. In the same way that your criteria for how you choose stocks has a list to it too. Now we're going to go back to positive habits. So, what happens for some people when they're dating and they're trying to find love in their life is they're looking in the wrong place. They're not looking in a place where people who are motivated and kind and loving hang out. They keep going to the same old reservoir going, how come I can't find anybody? Well, it has to do probably with where you're looking or shopping for that person. Does that make sense?
So you're saying that the bar is not where the top quality men are hanging out?
That's probably where that loving, kind, successfully, financially successful person is going to be at a bar. That person is going to be, you ready? At like a self-development conference.
Facts.
At a self-development conference that's not in your neighborhood, but it may be in Maui, it may be in Washington, D.C., it may be on a retreat.
Don't say DC, because now folks are going to know my secret as to why I keep going to DC.
I'm going to say big ups to you, because at least you're increasing the probability that you're going to meet someone who's like what it is that you really want.
Because the love of my life is not in Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey. Trust me.
Probably not. That person is now doing some things, having impact on the world.
Exactly.
You want to have impact on the world, but you just haven't met them. And I have a wonderful saying in the Wealthy Investor Program, because a lot of times I talk about dating. Wealth is a feeling first. It's a feeling first. So on the wealth side of it, I know we keep jumping backwards and forwards. I say to people, if you're really interested in being wealthy, then give yourself abundance in all things. Like, try this exercise over the next 7 days. Every single appointment you have, show up 15 minutes early. Because then you'll be in a habit of actually sitting in a room and not under the stress of like, it's 3 o'clock and I need to get there for my appointment.
Right.
No, arrive at 2:45. Get used to the feeling of having 15 minutes worth of time extra that you don't need, that you're going to fill just breathing, relaxing, enjoying the fact that you reach your destination early, right? So it's the same thing with love. Love and attracting a partner that is similar to you emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually. It is a feeling. You have to put yourself in a position where people who are just like you go with frequency. So, for example, and I know I keep talking about the Four Seasons here in Maui and all that. So, who do you think comes to the Four Seasons? Broke people who have no money?
I don't think so. Not the Four Seasons.
Right? There you go. So if I were in the market looking for someone who's loving and kind and financially successful, this would be one place where they would be. So I'd find like a yoga class or a communications class here in Maui, and boom, what am I going to do? I'm going to put myself in a room with women who are more like me, because people are a reflection of each other. So it works for money, it works for wealth, it works for friendship. You just have to make sure that you're willing to change your consciousness and be around people who are more loving, more successful, more on a seeker's path than you. And when you meet someone who's like you,
that feeling will let you know. It'll be strong and undeniable. Now, have I helped you here today a little bit?
That's a huge help. That's a huge help. That's good. That's a good one. Now you do realize I'm going to use that, right?
Well, you go listen.
I'll give you credit. I'll give you credit for it. I'll give you credit. I'll be like my good friend.
Like always attracts like. That's just the way that it is, and that's why when people have like soulmate experiences and that kind of stuff, if you're a person of money, you're going to automatically attract someone of money because they're like you, right?
Right, which is why I can't even. That's a whole other conversation. But anyway,
there you go. It's another show for another time.
It's a whole different show.
Right. Those parallels are very powerful, but they're very real at the same time.
Right, for sure. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. I just saw another question that just cracked me up. But I do want to ask about the stock market being less intimidating than it seems, because I think that people are very intimidated by the stock market. I think people find the stock market super I think they find it scary and intimidating.
Yes.
Because they think
and
it's
the reason for that is because most people have never been taught techniques on how to be wealthy, right? So, for example, I have two daughters. I'm divorced, and I have two daughters. And my daughters live in a different city, and so when I leave Malibu, I go see my daughters in the city where I have a house, and we spend time together, right? And my daughters already know at 18 and 15, already know what the stock market is. They know it's a thing that made dad wealthy. They have this expectation that it's going to happen for them. And the reason for that is because all wealth is taught. We were talking at the top of the show about positive habits, but here's the deal. All wealth is taught. So my daughters, we have at my house, I love to cook on Sundays. And so after Sundays, we all know that we're going to sit down and have what we call stock market Sundays.
okay.
Charts, and we're going to talk about that, right? Because I explained to my daughters, a man is not a plan for your financial happiness.
Thank you.
You're going to have wealth, and so therefore you need to attract someone who's going to have an equal amount of understanding and clarity about how to invest. They accept that as a premise. Why? Because they're a blank slate, and that's how I'm programming them. I wasn't programmed that way. My mother programmed me doing the best that she knew how, and she used to say, get a job where you can make overtime, because that's what she knew. So I had to let go of that old belief and embrace another set of beliefs that I can then pass on to what? To my kids. So the reason that people find the stock market intimidating is largely because no one in their family explained the market to them as well as its long-term benefits. So therefore it feels foreign and weird. But I'm going to try to demystify that. Do me a favor, just get in the habit of buying stocks that go up. If you buy something at 80, buy something that has the probability of going to 200. If you buy something at 125, buy something that has the possibility of going to 300. Just buy stocks that go up. Now, that's not intimidating.
Wait a minute. But you say that like you know. How do you know for sure what stocks are going to go up? You say that like that they're all a foregone conclusion. But I guess what you're saying is that there's a way to know that.
Yeah, there's a way to know that because I only buy stocks that are doing what? That are making more money, or to put it in stock market terms, generating more revenue every 13 weeks. And if those revenues keep climbing, there's a high probability that stock is going to continue to rise. It works 95% of the time. If I'm right 95% of the time and I'm wrong on the stocks that I'm choosing 5% of the time, I am rich. And that's how that goes.
Well, heck, can't really argue with that logic now, can I?
Yeah, well, it would be hard. You can argue with it, but it would be hard over the long term.
Well, I'm not irrational. Never mind. I'm not gonna lose. Oh, well, heck, my audience is like 70% male, so I was gonna say I'm not gonna lose half my audience, but my audience is 70% male. So.
Oh, all right. Well, your soulmate is in there somewhere. I'll tell you that. look at who you're attracting, right?
Don't get me started, please. That's a whole nother. I'm sure it's.
I'll come back for that show.
I'm sure it's the way I say quantitative easing or something. I don't. It's all about the numbers, I'm sure. And anywho, Robert Houston, he's one of my sponsors on my thread, joking around, talking about he's identifying as a female. Okay. He's part of my 70% male audience. I'm looking at my thread right now, right?
Right.
Is there one female on my thread in my Facebook chat? Is there one female? Me. I'm the only woman in my chat right. Oh wait, there's Brigitte. There's one other female in my chat right now. Like, come on, but it is a business show, so I'm gonna say that's why.
Well, I have some thoughts on that, but I'm going to save that till I come back on the next show.
Anyway, we're to close at the first hour. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you'll come back.
Listen, I just need to hear from you. It's truly a pleasure to spend this time with you.
It was indeed. The pleasure was mine. The website is thewealthyinvestor.net, and the name of the guest is Tyrone Jackson, stock market trader and wealth building coach. I hope you will come back. I will go and allow you to get to the pool and enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate having you here.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. See you real soon.
Indeed. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. That was our first hour guest, Tyrone Jackson. He was just fantastic. Enjoyed having him here. Our next guest is Eileen Durfee. She's the owner of Creatrix Solutions. She's going to talk to us about some innovations in the health and wellness industry. I actually am really excited to talk to her as well, because there's all these different nature and health companies that are coming out, and all these innovations in the natural health industry. You have a Melanie, what are you even talking about? Anyway, we're going to go to a commercial break, and I'm going to contact Eileen Durfee and be back in a couple of moments. Oh, goodness.
Melanie?
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good one. I got to call my next guest. Bye-bye.
And deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Hello, this is Eileen.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love numbers and puzzles and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school. And if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let your expert credit repair specialist remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our #1 priority.
And we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. In our second hour, our guest is Ms. Eileen Durfree. She is the owner of Creatrix Solutions, LLC. She's going to talk to us about innovations in the health and wellness industry. She is an innovator and practitioner and founder of Creatrix Solutions. And during her journey to recover from her own allergies and chemical sensitivities to achieve natural health is when she founded the company. She has a patent using light and heat with radiant exercise tent to make losing weight easy. Well, I can't wait till she comes out with that. Anything to make losing weight easier. It's a constant battle. So I'd love to talk to her about some innovations in the healthcare industry. And without further ado, Ms. Eileen Durfree, how are you?
I'm doing great, Melanie. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. We just finished talking to Tyrone Jackson in the first hour, talking to him about the stock market. So we are switching gears a little bit to talk about some innovative solutions in our health and welfare. And your health is important. And I love to talk about natural solutions. It's my belief that you should combine kind of, the things that are going on with technology and modern healthcare with natural solutions. I'm not one of those people that's in like the all natural camp, like no modern. Some people I feel like are in either or camp, and I kind of think you should combine the two. Like you should listen to your doctor, but you should also use natural options as well. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think I kind of feel like you should do both.
I really feel like you should do both as well. And I think that the American population needs to take more responsibility for their own health. I think there are too many people that believe that they've got great health when they're really only having artificial health because they're on all these medications. And medications are required in a lot of cases. I'm not saying that. But what I want to help educate people with is to give them tools and awareness of things that they can do that can dramatically improve their health so they have less reliance on needing medications. And of course that, is where I want to have the science behind what we're doing instead of making recommendations. Like you say, some people are just all natural, don't go to the doctor, and we really can't do that. We need a blend of both.
Sure. I mean, for you to say, I think that the doctors go to medical school for a reason. I don't think you can, say, oh, that 10 years of medical school you have is, for naught. Like I know, but because I went to WebMD, like I know better than my doctor does. I don't know that you know what I mean? I don't know that we can quite do that. Like I know that there's one medication I was on and I was thinking wasn't working because I was taking half of it. And it turns out that when I took a closer look, the reason it wasn't working is because it wasn't effective unless you took all of it. It's like,
right.
I was like, gee, turns out that all that medical school actually was like, yeah, probably should have listened to my doctor. Like, he's like, no, you actually have to take all of it.
I think our healthcare system needs to be transformed. I know, our listeners make America need to. And I is that can help people actually have better vitality and just make everything work better. I think there's promising studies with the cancer.gov and with the National Institutes of Health now with near-infrared light. And that's what the invention centered around some on our skin.
Is this to the cancer, or what does it do?
They're just starting studies now with the light, shining them on cancer cells in mice. There's a NIH study about near-infrared promoting apoptosis in pancreatic cancer. I mean, I think they're just starting, the frontier of seeing how that light affects the body. We do know that in cancer, those kinds of patients have lower ATP levels in their body. And when we shine near-infrared light on the skin, it actually has a biological response with our mitochondria.
I'm sorry, but let's back up a little bit. What's an ATP level?
Well, that's just one of the energy factors, because your body can have energy from glucose and ATP is a really long technical name. It's just the acronym that's short for it. We have the hydroelectricity that works in our cells that generates energy. Food have energy. So basically every cellular process needs energy. So if we're lacking energy, then your body goes into this rationing mode. It's kind of like if your car alternator isn't working. You can drive the car, but don't turn on the lights, and don't turn on the radio, and you can still get to point A to point B. So the lack of energy in the body is really where things start to fall apart. And so with cancer, having a lower ATP, if there's something that you can do, a lot of people have